I would fly to go see Liv in New York. And again, comes back to the selfie in the airport. Like, Mom, you know, I'm flying to New York this weekend to see her. Yeah. And you were like, go get her, hun. Yo, everyone. This is another episode of Keep Kicking with Kai. I have a special Mother's Day episode for you guys, and none other than my mom, Jeanette Novak. We'll call you Mama Jan. Ooh. Mama Jan, as everybody knows her, is on today. She has flown to LA for a little trip to come see me finally after COVID. How you doing, Mom? After
Awesome.
A long trip?
So happy to be here.
Crazy trip.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a special episode coming up, so let's get right into the conversation. Mom, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
My mom got to LA a couple days ago at midnight. It was a crazy journey, and I just threw this on her. I said, Mom, how could you not come to my podcast? This is going to be our Mother's Day podcast. We had to celebrate you, obviously, and all the amazing moms out there. So yeah, let's get this incredible conversation started. We're going to go into the background of my life, how my mom raised me, the ups and the downs, just the craziness. I wouldn't even call them downs, the craziness of my life as an athlete and you raising me.
Yeah.
As a crazy athlete.
It's been a fun ride.
Alrighty, so let's start with the basics. How old were you when you had me?
I was 28. And at that time, you know, I was so ready to have kids at that time. So it was just the most beautiful time of my life.
Did you always want to have kids around 28 or 30? Because I tell everybody this is my thing. I'm like, I want to have kids when I'm 24. I want kids so early because I have baby fever beyond.
Well, I was, I was busy with my dancing and, cruising and everything. So I just feel like it was the right time for Dad and I.
You got to just travel the world and do everything. And I think, you just settled and you were like, let's do it.
That was definitely it. I had gotten all of that craziness and those beautiful times and the excitement out of my life. And it was just really time to settle down. And I was so excited to have kids. I really was.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
She was excited to have me, favorite child or are we gonna
we do not have favorite children in this family.
I don't know. My sister's here too on the set of the pod and she's looking at me like, we all know that Ty is actually the favorite. But no, let's get into the athlete talk of this. Like, were you athletic growing up? Do you think I got your athletic genes, or do you think that came more from Dad? I have my opinions.
I think you definitely got your soccer from Dad, and I think you definitely got that. You know, I was a dancer, so I'm kind of the graceful one, and like I did run track, and I did play in England netball, and field hockey. So you get a little bit of the aggressiveness. You definitely get the competitive from both of us. We were both competitive, but Dad is more competitive than me.
I think a different type of competitive. I'm like, Dad will get mad when he loses, and I think you're a good loser at board games, let's say.
Yeah.
But I think we get very feisty. I get my feistiness from you.
You definitely do.
Dad is very calm and competitive, and I think you have that like heated like.
I do.
Yes. So anyway, I mean, we'll get into let's get into like what you thought of me playing sports as a kid and kind of like when you knew. We have a funny story. Let's get into the slide tackle story time of just when you knew that like I was gonna be this like feisty athlete and.
Yeah. Like, well, let's just start with the fact that you were a feisty baby, a feisty toddler. So, and we always knew, I remember your Auntie Sharon always saying, you walked quickly, you held your head quickly. So we knew that you were going to, and I believed with every thread of my being that you were going to be a special kid. I honest to goodness did. Dad thought you were going to be a professional golfer. And I just knew that you were going to be special. I know that every parent says that. I know that every parent thinks that their kid is special. I knew you were going to do really great things. Yeah. I just did. So the slide tackle story.
this is house league soccer. Let's preface it. So this is like, I just started to walk, really. And my dad put me in house league soccer, coached me during house league. Obviously, my mom would come to every game.
I would bring the orange slices and the freezies.
Yeah, that's classic. But this was when kids would just really run around. My sister would pick dandelions during these games. Like, it was not serious. It was not competitive.
No, that's what you did.
These were kids supposed to be playing and frolicking in the grass
and having fun.
Having fun. But what was I doing?
So this one, you know, she had a purpose. The purpose was to score the goals, to have the ball and to score the goals. And so if she didn't have the ball, she would get the ball, and by any means possible. And so somehow, because we certainly never taught you how to, you would slide tackle these little kids. And
slide tackling is rather complex in soccer. I don't know where I learned it, because first of all, mom and dad didn't teach me how to slide tackle. I was 3-4 years old. I was not ready to watch soccer on the TV and see these men. So God knows where it came from.
Yeah.
But I definitely think that was like, you tell me this story all the time. And I was like, that was where I was like, I was meant to just be this crazy like soccer player.
For sure. And I didn't think, in all honesty, I didn't think anything of the slide tackling, because in my mind, well, you're getting the ball.
Yeah.
But some of the other parents didn't enjoy that.
Yeah. Parents were
so we needed to, they were upset at that. And one mum actually walked onto the field and told Kyla off.
I remember this. I slide tackled her daughter, and she comes on the field, yells at me. I've never been yelled at like that. Like you never really raised your voice at me as a kid. So that was like my first experience with somebody yelling at me and telling me off like that. And it was like, I was like, well, I won the ball, didn't I? Like, tell your kid to pick it up. Like, but I'm this little girl with pigtails. Like, I'm not saying that.
You were, yeah.
So mom came and defended me.
I was a bit of a mama bear. I was a bit of mama bear, but I think that's probably the first time that we knew you were definitely, wanting to go a little further.
Yeah. And then,
sure.
I mean, we'll continue into like my soccer journey growing up as an athletic kid. Like, we always, Ty and I even, my sister's not really into like the athletics, but she would always come out with me, and we would be outside all the time. Yeah. We would be playing around the lake, playing on the street. Like you and dad just always, like, if we weren't doing our homework, we were outside doing something active. True.
Yeah. And where we lived was really conducive to being outside, and dad just loved taking you to the garden and kicking around, and you both loved that.
Ty would,
really did.
My sister and I would play on the trampoline. We'd play soccer on the trampoline and score goals like between the poles of the trampoline. It was like just so much fun. Like, we were always athletic kids. Yeah. And I think that's what just helped. Also, the fact that you and dad never pushed me into one sport. No. You let me be so diverse with what I was doing.
The one thing that I said to you both was, find something you love and stick with it.
I love it.
And the reason I say that is, and this really comes from probably the competitive but I wanted you to be really great at something. Yeah. And I always thought you can't be great at everything. So you have to stick with one thing. Yeah. But to know what you loved,
it takes
you
time.
You had to figure it out. So we put you in everything. Yep. And it's not like you were definitely not overscheduled. We would just, what do you like? Because you danced, you played hockey, you played soccer. So
I did every sport played every single sport in high school. Yeah. Track and field, wrestling. I did wrestling.
That one had me freaked out.
You know, and dad loved me wrestling.
He really did.
I played every single sport in high school. You and dad supported every single thing I did, including wrestling. But it was just the fact that I know so many girls whose parents were like, you don't have time for basketball, volleyball, track and field in high school because you need to be this incredible soccer player. Like, I know girls that were like, their parents just wanted them to be this professional soccer player, and they just didn't have time to try out every single sport.
Well, but I really think that being that multi-sport athlete really helped you in soccer.
Yeah.
I think the dance helped you, with, silly
Light on the
things
toes, dance on the field.
all of that. It helped you in hockey.
Yeah.
You just having that ability to switch your mind to all of the different sports you were doing. I think it helped. I really do.
Every single sport teaches you something different.
Yeah.
There's a different type of teamwork aspect. There's different skills.
Yeah.
There's different things you need to solve, and
Yeah.
you have to have a different way of thinking.
The one thing I will say about you, and I actually said this to Albie's mum yesterday, was that you are not a single sport kid.
No way.
No.
And we learned that through probably wrestling, because now wrestling is me against another girl. Was I great at it? Yes, I actually was.
Yeah, you were.
Really good
Yeah.
at wrestling.
Yeah.
Like, won most of my matches once I started learning how to actually wrestle.
Yeah.
But I will say it was anxiety, because I would get this terrible butterflies in my stomach to the point where it made me exhausted the second I had to start.
Yes.
I would start, like, my adrenaline
the
kicked in
adrenaline.
so much.
Yeah.
I was tired right when I started. And it took me a while to just get in the zone and get my
Yeah.
energy, because all eyes were on me. And
Well,
I don't really like that.
It's funny that you say it was wrestling. I knew it from gymnastics.
And I was so much younger,
You
yeah.
were so young. And the coach was from Romania. We put her in gymnastics in St. Thomas, where we live. And both coaches were a husband and wife team. They were from Romania. And, she was doing things immediately that the other kids of her age just weren't. And they saw it. And so they immediately started to push you to do different things from the other kids. And you picked up on that immediately. And you then started not wanting to go.
Yeah.
And it was the fact that you were being singled out.
Yeah.
And it was just you. And so I quickly figured out that you were not that single sport.
I do like the team aspect. And as crazy as it is, again, I say, like, I did not like the spotlight on me. I'm now on TikTok, where the spotlight is constantly on me. I'm doing this podcast where, like, there's a bunch of cameras, but it's like,
yeah,
I love talking. I love meeting people. But when the spotlight is just on me, like, it's actually not my favorite thing. Like, I love doing things with people.
Yeah, you're
I think
a collaborator.
It's more fulfilling,
yeah.
for sure. But let's also get into, like, the parenting style of, like, how you raised me, because I don't think that you or dad were ever super strict with me. I think, like, you've been obviously my best friend, like, as cliche as it is, like, you've been my best friend through everything. And it's just, like, I think that made me the athlete I am, like, very disciplined, always wanting to make you and dad proud. We never, like, there was no moment in my life where I wanted to rebel against you.
I agree.
For whatever reason.
I agree.
And
you didn't have that rebellious streak.
Yeah.
I think that I felt that I was strict in that I expected, good manners. I expected you to be respectful, not just to me and dad. There was never you would never say no to dad and I ever. That was never a thing. You always had lovely manners. You were always respectful to other people.
But I'll say, I think it's not even because you forced that on me. I think it's just you and dad are the most loving people on this planet. And I think our family is just filled with so much love that it's like, if I never used, like, my manners at the table, if I didn't say please, it was never a strict, like, come on, you need to say please, like, where are your manners? It was always like, Kyla love, like, you've got to, what do you say to mommy? Like, it's like, it's very calm, very soft. I was never, like, scared of my parents. And I think quite a lot of kids are, like, scared of their dads, especially. Like,
I think that, I always believed that positive reinforcement is going to work. And I still believe that. And I see it with other children that, I have interacted with, like family members. I see that positive reinforcement has helped. I always thought it was important, if I'm going to tell you no, or you can't do something, to explain why.
A reason.
And then you understand.
Yeah.
I also gave you the options to make your mistakes as well.
Yeah. And I think you didn't let me fly with anything. Like,
No.
I would annoy Ty at the dinner table all the time as a kid. I will say that. I would poke at her. I would take her food or whatever. And there were times where I'd go in the corner.
Yes.
But again, it was like, Ty loved me so much. She'd be like, well, Mom, can Kyla come out of the corner
Oh,
now?
yeah. She would go be with you in the
Yeah.
corner.
And it's just, that is our family. Like, just like
Yeah.
the base, the foundation of everything is love. And I think not strict, not discipline. Like, it was just like, you know, you do something wrong, okay, go sit in the corner. No spanking, no any of that, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just
well, and we, I think Dad and I, you know, Dad grew up in communist country, and I grew up, you know, with an interesting childhood, where it was very different, and so I really felt like, you know, I wanted to turn all of that around, and quite honestly, be the parent for you that I didn't have.
Yeah.
And thank goodness, like I feel like it just makes me so happy that you say these things, because it reinforces that I did the right things, because I didn't know if it was right or wrong at the time.
And I tell you, I tell everyone, and I don't know how many kids do feel this way. Like, I don't think many, but I think you and Dad did the most perfect job. And I am so scared to have kids for the sole reason, like, being like, if I can only be half the person you and Dad are, like, I will need you with my kids every single day, because I just want them to, like, definitely love me as much as I love you. So I'm gonna need you definitely beside me every step of the way raising my kids, because I want to be able to do as well as you and Dad did, for sure. And at least
I just have no doubt that you will, because you just, you know, we raised you with good morals, good values, and we're there for you. You know, you don't stop parenting just because you're an adult.
All the time.
You know?
Yeah, you and Dad have dropped literally everything for me.
Yeah.
And Ty, like, there was never a moment where I couldn't have called you and said, listen, I need this. Like, you would bring me lunch to school, or like during work, or I'd be sick at school, and like you'd come and get me. And like, there was never a moment where I would be like, oh, I can't bother my mom. Like, she's not going to be there for me. Like, it was.
Because that was important. I just think that you needed to know that I would be there at the drop of a hat. Again, because I didn't have that myself. And I wanted you to have that.
I definitely want to talk about high school, because I think my process with soccer, I get so many DMs. I get so many people asking me on social media, like, how did you get to college? How did you get to your national team? And I'll say my process was definitely very different, but I knew I wanted to take soccer seriously, you know, through grade 9. I played on my provincial team. We traveled to Toronto. It's 3 to 4 hours of driving, depending on the traffic. We traveled so many weekends, just everywhere. You and Dad would always, always, always drive me just to crazy lengths. But there came a time where I was given an offer to play for this thing called Rex. It's basically where all the national players in Ontario, all the national players that played for the Canadian national team, came together and would train, would go to the same school, would live away from home in order to play for the national team. And really, if I said no to that, that would be me giving up my national team dream.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
And did I play U17s before? I think I got called to one camp.
Yes, I think you did. Yeah, you did U15
I was U15 provincial. I did a U17 national camp.
Yes.
So I was already in the feeder of the national group.
Yeah.
And I had a taste of it, and I knew I wanted more.
Yeah.
I knew I wanted to be at that next level. So I got the offer. It was basically like, you need to, halfway through grade 10, I'm 15 years old. You need to move away from home, leave your mom, leave your sister. And I think that was the hardest part. Not leaving my high school, not leaving my friends. Obviously, that's hard. It's a new environment. That's not what I was scared of. It was leaving literally the one person that's had my back my entire life, and that I could go to anything, literally go to you for anything.
Yeah.
And then I'd have to just leave you.
Well, and it was, you know, it was a scary thing, because we were so close, and, you know, and you would be a long way away. And I never considered myself a helicopter parent, But in essence, I was helicoptering because I had to take you to the places. So I was always there just by circumstance. I never wanted to be that helicopter parent. So, I just didn't know how you were going to handle being away and doing it. And I really honestly didn't know how it was going to work out in the beginning.
And it was a hard process. So I lived with a billet family with another teammate. These are people that basically take you in for a certain amount of time. You live at their house. You get food provided for, no transportation at this point. I had to take the bus to school, and that was
a shock because we literally found out that you were going to have to find your own transportation the day you left.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I'm sending you to this billet family, and you were going to have a car pick you up.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in Toronto, the big city. We live in a small town. So you were going to get a car to pick you up from the billet house, take you to school. Then there was going to be transportation to the field, and then there was going to be transportation back to the house. No. That was what we thought. And the day you left, we found out, and then we had to look at the transit system.
Yeah. I never knew how to take a bus. And this sounds so like, oh my gosh, this poor girl has to learn how to take the bus. I'm 15 years old. Like, I was so young. Yeah. And I had to take the bus at like 6 a.m, figure out the transit system. Like, I was just thrown into everything to do it by myself. And I think that was the hardest thing. Like, I'd even call you and be like, Mom, like, I don't know where I am. Like, like there were moments.
But I mean, I really, it was the hardest thing for you, but it was the best thing for you.
Yeah.
Because the things that you learned and your self-sufficiency at the end of it were just incredible.
I grew up really quickly. I matured really quickly, and it helped me going into college. But let's backtrack and me going into Rex, obviously you always instilled in me, take every opportunity given to you because you don't know what could happen if you say no.
Yeah. And I thought I always said that. And I thought, you take the opportunity, go see. And then if you really don't like it, then come home. Yeah. But at least you tried.
Yeah, at least I tried. And I feel like you and Dad were always on the same page. First of all, you and Dad are divorced. My parents are divorced. And people are always, when I say that, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, my parents are best friends. Yeah. I've never seen you guys fight. And I know a lot of parents who are married cannot say the same. Yeah. I think I've had a better childhood growing up than a lot of people with married parents because you and Dad, nothing but love.
And we just believed that, anything that we went through had nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
We took our emotions out of everything, and we had a job to do. And that was to raise 2 children together.
Completely selfless. Well, you only thought of how this affects the kids.
Absolutely.
And that's all you cared about. Did you and Dad ever butt heads about the direction I was going?
I don't think we ever did. Yeah. Because we only wanted the best. Both of us always just wanted the best for you.
And again, I felt nothing but support from you and Dad with everything I've done. Even like, let's do a fast forward, getting into social media. Like, I'm flying different places. I text my mom sometimes and I'm like, I'm in the airport. She's flying to New York. Airport. And it's like, but how amazing is that? Because some kids would be like, oh, I can't tell my parents this. Like they're going to worry that I'm flying to New York. They're going to not support it. And you are always like, woo, woo, like just adventure time.
Away you go.
And that's always, you go. And I feel like it's crazy because it's like a lot of parents would worry. I think I would worry if I had a kid that's on the other side of the country, living in LA, like doing this, doing that. But it's like, I've always been safe.
Yes.
You have always trusted me. I've never given you a reason not to trust me.
And I think that's where it comes from, is that
full transparency with us.
That's all. Just tell me, and then maybe we can talk it through.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give you the best advice. Yeah. And so if I really think, because there was a time, remember there was a time when you went, where you were going to billet with somebody, that I said,
yes,
I believe it's not a good idea.
Yep.
I felt it in my body that it was not a good idea.
And hindsight, it would have been the worst thing I did.
And I think there are many times along your journey where I've really been forceful and said, I don't think that's the best for you. Yeah. I would have let you do what you needed to do, but I think I've proven to you that at the time I'm saying I don't think this is the best, you trust me.
Yeah.
And it's and it's later on down the road, you've been shown that was the best decision.
And I think that comes back to me not ever rebelling. I feel like every parent says, my kid went through that rebelling phase, like they don't listen to me, blah, blah, blah. I never had that because you gave me advice. You never told me what choices I made.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you told me your opinion.
Yeah.
I trusted, I valued it.
Yeah.
But if for whatever reason you said, I don't think this is a good idea, you can still choose what you do.
100%. It's your life.
Yeah.
You are your own person. And I'm not raising a clone of myself.
Yeah.
I'm raising a human being
Yeah.
that is going out into the world and doing amazing things for herself.
Yeah.
Would I have said, come onto social media and be this? No, I probably wouldn't. But look at the opportunities you've been given.
Yeah.
So, you're making great choices.
Yeah.
So you have the faith that you're making the good choices that are going to work out.
So let's jump into another crazy choice. Well, Princeton and UCLA.
Yeah.
My whole college journey
Mm-hmm.
and what we had to do to go through that. So first of all, again, my mom and my dad have driven me everywhere. Like they are the parents that come with me to everything. They're never like, you know what, find your own ride. Like, and let's talk about, there are parents that like will not drive their kids to the airport. Like I've at 4 a.m. because they're like, listen, I have a long day. I can't drive you to the airport at 4 a.m. Can you just Uber? You would never
I wouldn't even
be
think
that
of it.
person. And
No, I couldn't.
love and obviously thank you a million times for it. But let's get into Princeton. We did a road trip from Canada all the way down to New Jersey.
We did.
To look at Princeton, and then we flew across the country to look at UCLA.
Yep.
Now it came down to, I have this Ivy League school, Princeton, incredible academics. Will I say the soccer was the best? Absolutely not. And looking back, I would have had to really give up my soccer in order to pursue my academics there at Princeton. Princeton would have opened up so many doors for me academically. Would I be where I am social media wise? No.
You just wouldn't.
And that's another thing that's helped me just grow and develop as a human being, set myself up for the future.
Yeah.
And then there was UCLA, my other decision, like incredible school.
Mm-hmm.
Soccer, I wouldn't have had to give up soccer. I would have continued to be a part of my national team as I did.
Yeah.
It opened up so many doors for me in terms of who I've met, the connections I've made.
Yeah.
What did you think about my whole college decision process? Because it came down to those two. We did crazy things to get to both schools.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Well, I believe it would be every parent's dream to have their kids go to an Ivy League school, which is great.
Dad went Ivy League. My dad also went to Cornell. So there's that Ivy League smartness in the fam,
Yeah.
So I think
and let's add to that. Let's add to that Dad put himself through the Ivy League school. So there's the level of grit that, that Kyla comes from.
Yeah.
But so what it came down to for me was where you're going to be happiest. It didn't I know that you're going to do amazing things outside of school. And so what I said, just my thought process was, school's going to be hard. It's going to be fun. You're going to have experiences. But what it came down to was you're on the East Coast where it's going to get grey and dreary and school's going to be hard and you're going to have bad days, or you're going to be on the West Coast in California where you're going to have hard days. It's going to be rough. Where would you rather have your bad days?
Yeah.
On the West Coast where the sun is shining, or on the East Coast where you're playing soccer in a dome and where it's grey and dreary in the fall and the winter?
It would have been closer to you guys, right?
You guys would have
been able to come down a lot more, watch me play.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think, again, you took that selflessness and been like, listen,
where are you going to be happiest?
I'm not going to be that parent that whines about, I want my kid close to me. I don't want my kid leaving the nest.
It's not about me.
You were never like that. And I know a lot of parents that were also like, I don't want my kid to leave school, made them feel a little guilty for going far away. Mm-hmm. And I always say this, listen, I'm at UCLA. A lot of kids say, oh, I'm like far away from my parents now. I chose this school because I got away. And that was never like, God, if UCLA was right in Canada, like how amazing. I would stay there. But it was just like, I had to put that aside, trust that like listen, we FaceTime every day.
Yeah.
We made it work, but it was just like I
And
never wanted to get away from you.
I feel like it's easy that way because we do have the technology.
Yeah.
There was something that I didn't realize that I had done that was kind of a light bulb moment for me that, in speaking to other friends that have children that have said, I can't even begin to imagine my kid being, more than a couple of hours away from me. But I was listening to a podcast or something, and it was about loving without attachment. And I'm like, I think that's what I did.
Yeah.
Is loving you so hard, but with no attachments to that love.
Yeah.
Because I still love you.
Well,
you can be in Jersey or you can be in California.
Yeah.
We still love each other.
Yeah.
So,
and let's start with like the little phrase that you'd always tell me before bed, like, mommy's always here. Mommy's not going anywhere. Yeah. I'm going to dream about you, me, Ty, and Nutty. Like just so like cute. Things like that. Like it's, you are literally always here. That was my affirmations as a kid before I went to bed. Like you taught me words of affirmation, like growing up, and I never forget it. And I'm like, you are always here. You always have been. Look, my mom literally just flew to LA after 2 years of crazy COVID, but it was
just for the vacation.
Yeah.
Not at all. It was.
But again, you are always here for me. You and Dad have always been here for me. Even the silly, like the hugs, like I might not be with you at school. I would cry every day. SK when I had to first go to school. But I'd do the little hugs in the bathroom. I'd hug myself and I'd be like, mommy's here. I'm good. Like,
we had to send a picture in your lunchbox.
Yeah.
I love you on it.
Just like stuff like that. Just like you have always had my back as a parent. You have never once left my side. And you and Dad always also instilled like, we are family. Family does absolutely anything for each other.
Yeah.
And that's translated into my sport with my team. I'm like, listen, you're my teammate. I am going to do anything for you. Like if my teammate calls me at 2 a.m., Kyla, I need you to come. I'm in a sticky situation. Like I need you to come. I will get in my Kia Soul and I will drive to save you from whatever situation you're in. I don't care. If you call me and you need something, I will be there because you and Dad were always there when you called me. When I
have seen that translate into your personal relationships as well.
Yeah.
That you are always there for your people. Yeah. If you love that person, they are a very lucky person because you would do anything for them. And
I've said this to in every single past relationship I've had. I've said, listen, no matter if we're still dating, let's say, because I get this from you and Dad as well. We'll get into relationships right now. Why not? Okay. But my past relationships, if we're dating, like you call me, I will be there. If we're not dating anymore, that does not mean my love for you stops, my care for you stops, because you and Dad never once stopped loving each other, stopped caring for each other, stopped contact with each other, because you had just such a greater goal in mind that like we need to be a team for our kids. And I've translated that into my relationships for sure. It's like even if we break up, I have always been there for the people that I love. Once you are my family, you are always my family, despite however the breakup goes.
I feel like that with your with your people too.
Exactly. Let's go into a past relationship I had. Their parents were not there for them. Yeah. There was one moment where the person I was seeing at the time was crying in the car before we were going into dinner because their parents just were not there for them. Whatever happened, crying in the car. And I'm looking at the person I love and I'm like, I have this incredible mom who will be there for you no matter what. I texted you. I said, listen, my partner is she's really sad. Her mom is just not there for her right now. Can you please text her? My mom, 2 minutes later, sends this long paragraph to the person I'm dating. I will be your mom. I will be there for you. I will do whatever it takes to make you feel loved.
Yeah.
And not every kid gets that.
They don't. I didn't.
Exactly.
And so I can't imagine you girls or boys going through something like that and not knowing that you have somebody that you can just tell the most important, tell somebody the greatest thing that happened to you today, or,
unconditional love.
Well, unconditional love is paramount to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
I've seen that. I think that's what when I see people in my life decide to leave for whatever reason, cut me out, that's what's really hard on me. And you've seen it happen just because the way I've grown up is you and dad have never left. Nobody in my life has ever really left until certain things happened back in the past. And it's like, this unconditional love is something that I will give to a lot of people, but a lot of people either don't know how to receive it or because they've never gotten it.
Yes. And I think that's hard. That's going to always be hard for you if you get into relationships with people that haven't had that.
It.
Yeah.
And it's a learning.
Yeah.
It's acknowledging that, listen, not everyone grew up with the same type of love I did. And I'm so blessed for that. And I think that's what's helped me just excel in sports, in academics, in my little social media career, was just like the love, the support that I know not many people get. So speaking on love, we've talked about sports. We've talked about me growing up. Let's talk about my coming out, because obviously LGBTQ plus community here.
Let's do it.
We don't discriminate, but let's talk about my coming out story to you. Cause a lot of parents don't know how to deal with that. A lot of kids don't know how to come out.
Yeah.
Mine was a little quick.
It was
I really just dropped it on her. Well,
there was no ceremony.
Yeah. The first person I came out to was my sister, who just, Ty, she's right here. No judgment ever. Like, I was just like, listen, Ty, I'm gay. Period. But same thing I really did to you and dad. It was, dad was a different one actually. But let's start with you. I really was just like, listen, I was talking to this girl, never felt this way about anyone before. And I was like, Mom, like I like and it was Angie at the time. We're gonna everybody knows who I dated. God bless. And I was like, listen, I really like her. And you were like, oh, okay. And I was like, no, like I
really like her.
I really like her. And then it was one of those, no judgment.
No. And but honestly was surprised. I was surprised.
Because I thought I was this little gay little kid, very obvious.
But you know why I was surprised? Because in my mind I had made up, the story of the heterosexual wedding, I guess.
Yeah.
And so, did I care? I mean, care in the fact of, no, not at all.
No.
Are you happy? Okay.
That was,
okay.
As long as you're happy. Yeah. And now I dropped it on you a little quickly because at this time, Angie was in New York and I'm in Canada. We're a road tripping family.
Well,
3 days before it was before school started. I had one more weekend to see the girl of my dreams at the time.
And the thing with Kyla is it's always, this is
last minute.
Only chance I'm ever going to have to do this. It's the only chance.
I said, Mom, she is the love of my life. We need to drive to her.
To New York.
A lot of parents would be like, you're
10
crazy.
Hours away.
You're crazy. We're not doing this. We're staying. We don't have time for this. This is 3 days before we're supposed to leave. And Mom goes, well, let's get a map. Let's go.
Let's figure this out. I was supposed to work on the Friday.
Took the day off?
Took the day off of work to make that happen.
The craziness of our family. Now, we do also need to remember, we have been blessed enough. You and Dad have worked so hard to give us the ability to do that. So many kids probably, couldn't afford to, don't have the car to. We came from that blessed background that you and Dad worked so hard to provide us with everything we needed. Not spoiled,
No. I don't believe that you were spoiled.
I don't think so either. I think we did gifts on Christmas, but there was never here are these brand new pairs of shoes that you asked for in May.
Yeah, there were no gifts just because gifts. Yeah, because then nothing special.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But I think that it was really important just to, if we could, then we did.
Yeah. Take every opportunity.
Yeah.
Because why not?
Yeah.
And we say this all the time. So we did the whole road trip to New York. Found the love of my time. Let's say, because obviously that came to an end. Ange and I are still great.
And I adore the girl. I adore the girl. What a beautiful soul she was, and she will always.
And again, it comes down to we never burn those bridges when it comes to relationships. Like,
No.
and if you're watching this, like, so much love out
and
there.
She knows I adore her.
Yes.
But I adore her for the person she is.
Yeah.
I didn't just adore her because she was my daughter's partner.
Yeah.
I thought that she was just a beautiful human being with a beautiful family as well. Yeah.
100%. But yeah, it just came down to taking every opportunity. We did the crazy road trips like that. And again, never did I ever regret road tripping to see someone, flying to see someone. Like, again, let's come back to, you would always do that for me. And then I started doing it for myself.
Yeah.
Like, once I got to LA, you know, obviously I didn't have you to drive me to wherever, but I would start doing that for myself in my own life. Like, I would fly to go see Liv. In New York. And again, comes back to the selfie in the airport. Like, Mom, you know, I'm flying to New York this weekend to see her. Yeah. And you were like, go get her, honey.
Well, and I also did say to you, you know, when Dad and I were dating.
Yes.
I did that. I would literally just, you know, I would come back from a trip from seeing him, miss him.
Yeah.
And then book another flight and go back to New York, actually. Yeah.
No regrets.
No regrets.
No regrets. That tattoo. Yeah. No regrets. Gosh, we're the Millers or something like that. Oh, gosh.
But you can't, because that's part of your life and part of your experience, and it shapes who you are, and it gives you stories.
Stories.
Yeah. We've got loads of stories.
We have so many stories. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And the times in the car for me were the most precious. And I think that that's why we're so close. Yeah. Is that we had so much time. Sometimes it was just silent time. Yeah. Sometimes it was just quiet. Yeah. Sometimes we would talk the heck of each other. But I think that's why we're so bonded. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we'll bring it back to when I lived in Toronto, when I moved away from home in high school. I would have school Monday to Friday, training Monday to Friday. Mm-hmm. And before I had a car, before I could drive myself from Toronto to home, you would drive 3 hours, pick me up from Toronto, and then drive 3.5, 4 hours back because the traffic was terrible.
Was awful.
So Mom would drive such an insane amount, but we would have so much time in the car together just to laugh about things, cry about things.
Decompress from the week.
We talked about everything. Those were honestly like my therapy sessions. Yeah. Like, gosh, like, oh, this was a terrible week. This was an amazing week. And again, why we got so close. Because we talked about everything on those car rides. And again, probably why I love road trips. Mm-hmm. So to the people out there, if you want to steal my heart, like road trips. And that comes down to like LB and I.
I was going to say,
we drove my Kia Soul. God bless my Kia Soul. Across the whole country. Could we have flown 100%?
Yeah. Well,
where's the fun in that?
I mean, and in the same way, the whole car buying was so spontaneous, right? In true you fashion, you'd been home for the whole summer, and then 10 days before you leave to go back to school, now you want to buy a car.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, we can't buy a car in 10 days. You've got to be really smart about buying a car.
Oh, yes, we can. Chelsea, shout out to you. She sold me the Kia Soul. I'll never forget her. Oh, amazing.
You do love that car, don't you?
I love my Kia Soul. And people make fun of me for it all the time. Oh, this is a Kia Soul. Of course you drive a Kia Soul. My little hamster car. No. She has gotten me across the country, and very few people can say that.
And the one thing I wanted to make sure that you were going to do, because I really didn't believe it was a smart thing for you to drive across the country by yourself. Yeah. But the fact that, you know, your bestie came and flew to Detroit and then drove with you is just incredible.
Because I think, again, this comes down to, because you and Dad would do something like that for me, I have now attracted people. Yeah. Just like you and Dad. I know what I deserve in my life. Like LB. LB is like my best friend version of you and Dad. Yeah. I have such an incredible tight. You do not need a million friends. You need one best friend that will fly across the US to meet you in Detroit, only to road trip back to where she started in 3 days.
Incredible.
Those are the people I want to attract in my life. Those are the people I have attracted in my life, all because you and Dad taught me what I deserve. The effort that you put into somebody is the effort you get back.
Yes.
100%.
Very much so.
I mean, we've talked about really our whole life and everything.
We covered it.
But what do you think is like one thing you want to tell parents, even tell kids, like the the best thing you can do to support your kid, to raise an athlete, to raise an amazing human being? What do you think are the main things that go into that?
Mm-hmm.
That's a deep one.
Well, I mean, first and foremost, we covered it. Unconditional love, which, I mean,
that should
parents,
be at the bottom of everything.
It should.
Unconditional love can create world peace. Let's do the cliche. Like, if you just go into every encounter you have with people with like, I see you as an equal to me. I want to bring nothing but love and happiness in your life. I want you to leave meeting me as a better, happier human being.
Yeah. You do that for people.
I hope I do.
You do that.
I really hope I do. And that's what I want to do for people.
I think that you have to put in the time, to and be there. Have your kid know that you're on the sidelines.
Yeah.
That's like a metaphor even for life, right? That, whatever you're doing, I'm on the sidelines. I'm always there. You can always reach out. I don't want to encroach on your space, but I'm always there if you need me.
Like I said, you did it perfect. You were never this helicopter crazy parent on me, but you were just always there in such a calm, loving way.
Mm-hmm.
And it is such a hard balance to find. And I do not know how you and Dad did it. But it was perfect.
And it wasn't, it wasn't scripted. You don't know that you're doing the right thing. I remember, you hope to goodness that, just loving you and allowing you the space to grow and thrive is the best thing for you.
And it was. Here we are, and I don't think I'm doing that bad.
I'm so bloody proud of you.
Thank you. And
that's so proud.
Gosh, that comes down to like all I have ever wanted to do because of the love and support you and Dad have given me is make you proud. That is in the back of my head in every single thing I do.
Yeah.
What is my mom going to think about this? Will she approve of this? Is this going to be something that makes my mom proud? Everything I do. Everything I do.
In the same token, I feel the same when I'm moving about my life as well, though. I don't think that I move around my life not thinking about you kids and how that it will impact you and how you'd think about, the choices that I'm making as an adult, as your mom. Yeah.
100%. I think you've just put us first.
You are first.
Like always.
You are.
Always.
Yeah.
And that is a different level of selflessness that even like some parents like just don't have. Like, listen, I don't have time to take you to the airport. I have work this day. Yep. And you'd be driving me at 3 a.m. to school on Mondays. Like
you can sleep when you're dead.
Yeah. Amen. And on that note, you can sleep when you're dead. We'll wrap it up right there. This was probably the perfect Mother's Day episode. I am so glad that you got on the podcast with me.
Thanks, babe.
Sprung it on you. But how could I not have my mom on this podcast? The reason my mom and my dad, of course, the reason I am here. Like I had to have you on. And I think this is a super insightful episode just about how parents can support their kids, how parents can love their kids through not just sports, but just life in general. Like what an awesome example I have. And I'm so blessed again to have you as a mom. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. You are all amazing. LB's mom as well, like just taking me in as my American family. LB's dad, I love you all so much. And I could not be more grateful for the amazing family I have. Obviously, you and Dad, but LB and her mom as well. So happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day, everyone.
And that is a wrap. Thank you guys so much for listening to Keep Kickin with Kai. Always keep going through life. Do not stop. Do not give up. Keep persevering. Do you have any last words? I won't link my mom's socials because she's a old dinosaur.
You'll only see Kyla and Ty on there anyway.
Yeah.
No, just take every opportunity you are given and love unconditionally. That's
amazing. It. That is a wrap. Keep checking out the podcast. Keep supporting. Love you all. Have a good one.